Episode 586 comes to you live on the 31st of October 2022. Something very interesting has happened over this week in the last 7 days. And two things which humans love, especially in this part of the world, something happened to them, something happened to that individual which really shocked everyone, and maybe they would think about those two things once again. What were these two things which sent the world into shockwaves? Even an earthquake wouldn't create such panic as these two incidents. What's down fails. The messaging application which we love so much, where we share everything with our friends and contemporaries, and then because we think that email is too much of an effort to share and this is the easiest thing, and then we can have discussions, we can go informal, we can go all emotional as far as what's down is concerned. And if this particular application, this particular piece of technology, even if it fails for 5 milliseconds, it causes panic. The kind of panic which is unbelievable. So what if this particular application failed? It's not the end of the world. You can do other things. If it failed, put your phone away, talk to people face to face with whom you can talk to face to face. With the individual you cannot talk to face, it's fine. Even if you reply to something after a few hours, it will not be the end of the world. But we are greedy as well as we don't have the patience. I know what that means. And then we have this emotion to share everything quickly. We want to share everything. We want to show our inclusiveness that yes, we are involved in those superficial group chats. When you are part of more than 10 groups and the same information is relayed in those 10 groups 20 times, and then in one of those groups, when there are informal conversation, when there is bantering and everything, I don't enjoy it. Maybe I did a few years ago, but now I don't even see what the thing is. I mean, how are people happy bantering someone on this thing when we can't even banter them face to face? We don't have the guts and the even the thought to banter them face to face. We are comfortable that we can say something over there. Okay, I'll send you my photo. I went to this place. I'm so happy. This happened, that happened, that happened. So we just share. And then what happens? Privacy goes for a toss. Then comes the paradox. We say that this particular application invades our privacy. They start looking into our galleries and contacts. We give them the permission. Then the authorities and the administration have to interfere because misinformation is spread. So, what is the definition of misinformation? No one knows. What is correct information and what is wrong information is subject to interpretation. And then we have created the school called WhatsApp University. So that's our first line of information, not for me. I'd rather read four newspapers of 30 pages each, take 1 hour to read, maybe take half an hour to read one newspaper, get all the information, rather than through these applications. And then, of course, there are other applications which don't bother me. But I don't see what was the great depression about. The world went into depression. Businesses started crying. We missed a few hours of business. What was more ridiculous was last week's match, whoever they faced, for a few hours, people did not shop. So the online shopping world also crashed. People were not shopping. Crashed as in they suffered losses. No one shops throughout the day. And it's just a 3 hour match. It's not the end of the world. It's not as if people don't shop. There's something wrong with the economy of the country. I don't shop all the time. I only shop when it's needed. I know when to shop and when not to shop. No need to unnecessarily shop because we all know what happens. But There are individuals who are greedy, who want to buy, even if that product has no value to them, so that they keep on showing the world that yes, I'm contributing to the economy. But we'll talk about the online shopping superficial world on a later day. But this superficial sadness is something which befuddles me. It flummoxes me. If it fails right now, it won't make a difference to me. I'll send the message a few hours later. And then what happens here is somebody messages me that send me this information immediately. It's not possible to send the information immediately. No one sends me the information immediately, which I'm expected to send to another person. So it's just a hierarchy. So that person can wait. Yes, we are in a hurry nowadays. I don't know why. What's the hurry about? But that's the way the world works, and that's the way we have to accept the strangeness of the world. But this, what's down, was nothing compared to what happened last night. What happened last night was something even more dramatic. So, as everyone knows, India lost to South Africa, but that was a game which was always going to be in that team's favor because of all the hype created around the fast bowlers, great fast bowlers, and everything. So, yeah, we lost. Okay. But it wasn't the loss, it was the way the entire story took place. We were 50 for 5 in 10 overs. We were rescued by Sky, whose name has become now synonymous with things like सूरज चमक रहा है बाकी सब अंधेरे में है. सूरज ने भारत को फिर एक ऊर्जा दी. These kinds of comments start coming, and after a while it becomes boring. But we'll talk on that later. But what happened was Kohli dropped a catch. Catches have been dropped for generations. But that's the beauty of it. Catches are dropped. That's the way things work in this particular sport. Goalkeepers miss. The best of goalkeepers miss and they concede a goal. The best of goalkeepers in hockey and football, they miss and they concede a goal. That's the way things work in this particular profession of sports. You cannot expect them to be perfect. But we expect this particular individual, and maybe once he is replaced by another individual who will want to carry on the standards set by this individual, that how did he drop the catch? How can this particular individual drop a catch? No, 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 no. He cannot drop a catch. Then the question becomes, I'm sure there must be lots of names on pseudo media, lots of mocking happening because that's the way things work in this particular thing. There would have been a lot of them. And Kohli is also in the news for some other reason, but that's not important because that's something which has no discussion. And even if you want to discuss that, you can do that on pseudo media and put your point, but I am not getting into that superficial moronic discussion. So did he drop the catch? Did he drop the cup? I'm sure stock markets all over the world must have plummeted once he dropped the catch. Stock markets go up and down on the most flurriest of reasons. So him dropping a catch or him dropping the World Cup. Because we know there is a story, whether it's true or not, that a particular batter was brought by another fielder, and the story is, it's a hearsay, it's not clear that did you drop the cup, and that was a group game. And those two individuals met once again in the semi-finals, and the match was a tie, and there was no concept of super overs or tiebreakers. The concept was that if you win the group game, then you go to the next round. So that was the logic then, which I think is fair enough, but let's not go there. The way it was made dramatic by the pseudo experts, unexpected from a machine. And if I say things like these individuals are, after all, human beings, no one will accept it. Everyone will say they are paid in millions. The paycheck is fatter than most individuals' belly. The paycheck for this individual is fatter than most individuals' belly or any part of your body. So they cannot drop a catch. If they drop a catch, they deserve to be given the appropriate punishment, or as the famous words are, Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. I don't know what will happen. but the reactions of the fielders was priceless. How did this particular individual drop a catch? How can he drop a catch? How can he fail as a batter? He pulled the ball. How can he drop a catch when the fielders of the opposite side took three very good catches? And how did India fail the pace and the bounce when they have faced these bowlers millions of times? But there's a term which I have borrowed from WWE: familiarity breeds contempt. So when two teams meet for the 10th time in the last 3-4 months, you're bored of seeing those individuals, then you just say, fine, you want to win, go ahead and win. We're just bored of seeing you. That has happened. South Africa and India have played close to 9 or 10 matches in the past 3-4 months since June. They play each other regularly in the Indian T20 competition, and therefore familiarity breeds contempt. It's a possibility India and South Africa may face each other in the finals. But will that happen? Have the stock markets plummeted? Is it the end of the world for certain teams, certain players? I do not know. But let's take a look as to how the teams have done in this particular week. So, as always, Bangladesh won a thriller against Zimbabwe after all the confusion around no balls and stumping and free hit and all that. And it just shows how ridiculous the rules are in this particular sport. So what happened was, it was an official last ball when the batter tried to hit and he was stumped. The umpire decided to take the decision to the TV umpire, but the players from both sides knew that we don't have much left in this particular match. So we are going back to the dugout, to the locker room. But once the replays came in, and there are certain rules which have to be followed in terms of stumping. What are those? You can look it up yourself. But the stumping was not done in the appropriate manner, or rather illegally, if one can use that term. And then the third umpire decided, no, it's not out and it's a no ball. And then all the players had to come back. So there was so much of miscommunication or mishaps happening. But Bangladesh overcame Zimbabwe once again, which means Zimbabwe's chances of going to the next round plummet further. Their stock market crashes because they have no chance of going to the next round. Moving on, Sri Lanka's chances also took a dent when they allowed New Zealand to go from 15 for 3 to 7 for 167 on the basis of one player's 100. The last individual you would expect to score, you would expect Williamson and Conway and other individual to score, but Glenn Phillips, a known name in the New Zealand circles, an unknown name in the world circle, but he may have just put his mark. Don't be surprised if he's recruited in the Indian T20 competition. Don't be surprised if a few players from Ireland, Scotland, Netherlands, Namibia are given the chance in the Indian T20 competition. They may be given the chance, they may be seen as replacement players, and then what will happen? They will say, look, our life has changed. We were earning basically nothing, and now we are going to be rich individuals gaining from an Indian T20 competition. It will happen. Don't be surprised if this guy Glenn Phillips gets a look in that competition. He may have already played, but his stock has risen after this. He may not score a single one in the next match, but all you need is one particular knock to steal the show, and he has stolen the show. Sri Lanka could not cope up with the pressure, and the decision to bat first has worked for some teams. It may not work totally for all the teams, and we have seen that teams have been 15 for 3, 20 for 3, 30 for 3, 30 for 4 regularly in this competition, and somehow numbers 4, 5, 6, 7 have guided them to a decent score, and that's what is happening throughout this tournament. Coming on to the Pakistan-Netherlands match, it did work for Netherlands, but then Pakistan was always expected to beat Netherlands for them to have any chance of going to the next round, but they're dependent on other results, as it often happens. So I don't know what will happen with this, but they got the 2 points, and Netherlands' chances also go down. So they have no chance going to the next round. We'll talk more on that as the episode progresses. Then comes familiarity breeds contempt. India won the toss, bowled first. They were 50 for 5. I did say last week, and in conversation with my esteemed guests, they cannot be 30 for 4, 40 for 4. In this case, 50 for 5. Time and time again, they may have had an escape against a neighboring country, but that was full of adrenaline, emotion. The other side also made errors, but South Africa had nothing to lose. They go to 5 points. 5 points may not look too much, but it's just the way this entire tournament has been going on with rain delays, rain totally making a mockery of the matches not happening, ground being flooded because of that. That South Africa's 5 points are as precious as anything you will ever see. They're as precious as the Lord of the Rings, the ring in the Lord of the Rings. They're precious. There is no there are no words to describe the precious 5 points South Africa have earned, because their one match was also affected by rain, despite the fact that they were not too far away from the target. But that's the way things are. As I said, India cannot afford to be 40 for 4 going further, because whatever happened in the first match, that's in the vault, that's in the past. We can forget that totally. Other teams will not allow, and we know what all teams can qualify for the semi-final. We'll discuss that as we go further. They managed to go to 9 for 133, maybe 10-12 run would have been a huge difference. South Africa were 24 for 3, but once again their number 4 and 5 came to the rescue, and the familiarity with David Miller must have put the team off. They know David Miller comes, he bats in a certain way, he has a certain planning as far as batting is concerned. He'll start slowly, then he'll accelerate, and then he'll stay till the end. And Miller's stocks rose once he was part of a winning team, the Gujarat team, earlier this year in the domestic competition. So it completely changed the outlook for this particular individual, and he has nothing to lose. That's how things are. Will we see these two in the finals? Well, that depends on the points table. Now look at the points table. It's something which can't be explained. It's a very strange points table. How many games have been rained out? At least 6 games have been rained out, which means teams have lost on at least 2 points. And if you look at this, going by
It's
how the
18:30.
points table stands, 2 between New Zealand, Australia, England will go through. Australia's net run rate is also not at a very good stage, which means if England win tomorrow's match against New Zealand, they go ahead to 5 points. If New Zealand beats England, then they might qualify for the next round, and that will make things very difficult for England. They may find themselves on the mark of disqualification. But Ireland, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, their chances of going to the next round become 0. You never know, Sri Lanka may surprise and win the next game, but they'll be maximum 4 points. You need at least, going by how this thing is, at least 7 points to have any chance. Even if Sri Lanka win their last 2 matches, they'll be on 6 points, which will not work because England win their last 2 matches, they're on 7 points. New Zealand win 1 of the 2, they're on 7 points. Australia win the next match, they're on 7 points. So 3 teams will be on 7 points, and it will be Khel net run rate ka. In the other group, it's not that straightforward. South Africa 5 points. The India-Bangladesh match will decide which team will be at number 2, and net run rate being an important thing. So if we can rule out Zimbabwe and Netherlands from now, and let's presume that Pakistan still has a chance, but at best they will go to 6 points. India wins 1 of the 2, they have to win both to have any chance, they will go to 8 points. South Africa will be on 9 points, and Bangladesh, if they miraculously beat India, though pseudo experts are saying with such gusto that India has no chance of losing to Bangladesh, and Bangladesh won't give them a fight. I don't agree with it. I won't march much into it because I know what the thought process is. So between South Africa, India, Bangladesh, two of the three teams qualify. Rest of the three teams looks difficult. Between New Zealand, Australia, England, two teams qualify, and it will become once again Khel Net Run Rate Cup. Ireland, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, it looks a very difficult situation. Episode 587 will be live on the 2nd of November 2024.